Hello everyone, I'm Arthur here to present you with a build video for my Magicka DRACONIC. Now Magicka DRACONIC is a class that I've always hated playing with for a number of reasons, but now I've really been enjoying it with this build. I finally managed to put together a build that satisfies my play style and that I find very effective. Once again, I'm presenting you with a build that is very cheap to put together, and not only that, it's a build that, just like every other build of mine, will be viable across patches, so you don't have to keep on updating it or changing it or spending silly money on it. Now it's very tanky, great damage output, and as per usual, great sustain as well. So let me just show you my unbuffed stats. Unbuffed, I've got max Magicka 37k, just over it, 19k max health, which in zero deal translates to a very healthy 26k, very healthy 15k maximum stamina to enable you to block quite consistently. Now Magicka recovery just over a k, well 1k. You might think it's not enough, but really I'm gonna show you later how to that number really you need to add just over 1700 Magicka recovery through a set and a skill that we're using. So great Magicka sustain. Spell damage completely buffed goes up to just over 3k. I'm going to show you in a moment. 32%, well 33% spell critical, 2.5 crit resistance, and then with regards to spell and physical resistance, let me just buff up. 31k spell resistance and 26k physical resistance. Again, I enjoy having spell resistance higher than physical resistance because I am a vampire, although I am also a dark elf, which really helps mitigate the fire damage. I still use the Witch Mother's Potent Brew on this build and run the Apprentice Boon. Now you could run the Mage if you wanted to take your max Magicka to 39k, but really damage wise you get more out of the Apprentice than the Mage Mundus. Now let me just show you what my damage looks like. Spell damage, you see, just over 3k, which is really good for a heavy Magicka DK. Now, with regards to my set, the juicy bit. Now, we're using Desert Rose. This is one of the means by which I sustain, and I sustain really well. The fifth bonus, 50-piece bonus, is quite juicy. When you take damage, you have a 15% chance to restore 2,324 Magicka. This effect can occur once every 4 seconds. Now, you can benefit from it only when you're under pressure, which is great, because with a Magicka DK, you're supposed to be under pressure. You're supposed to be tanking a lot of damage. So this is a means for you to really manage your sustain while fighting. Also, the other three bonuses are quite great. 2,871 spell resistance, great again because you are a vampire. It gives you max health and max Magicka, so a very balanced set. And yes, I love it. I love it. I've got sword and board on my front bar. Sword is Nernhunt, and shield is 30 with max Magicka glyph enchantment. Then on my back bar I've got an ice staff, again of the Desert Rose. This set is so cheap, either to buy on traders or to get on zero deal vendors. Okay, so very easy, very cheap to get. So yeah, I've got an infused staff on the back. Now if you wanted, you could have non-hunt or powered, or or anything else. If you want, you could swap this poison and put it on your front bar. That's no problem at all, and you can proc your weapon and spell damage enchant from your back bar. Now that would increase actually your overall damage to 3.1k spell damage. So you could do that if you wanted. It's entirely up to you. Let me continue with the gear. Right, so desert rose, jewelry, and weapons. Then I don't use, now this is up to you. For your monster set, you could use Valkyrie Scoria, great set. But I've actually been preferring to run with Molakina for extra spell damage, and Dummy House for that juicy max stamina and max Magicka bonus. Now it's because of Dummy House that I reach just over 15k stamina, which is really helpful. And yes, so you can run Valkyrie Scoria. Your health pool will go up as well, but you will lose some spell damage. But I prefer this setup. This is just my personal preference. I don't run many dots on this build anyway, so I don't proc it on cooldown as I would on my Magicka Templar. Yeah, so this is what I use, but you can use whatever. You could even use Bloodspawn if you wanted. And then we've got Innate Axiom. Innate Axiom is another great set, and this actually add another 386 spell and weapon damage to my class ability. So that really brings it up to 35k spell damage. Amazing set, very cheap to craft as well. So offer max Magicka, max stamina, and then spell critical and that juicy 386 spell and weapon damage to my class abilities, which is basically each and every one of them, as we're gonna see in a moment. I run impen on everything apart from 3 pieces which are sturdy, and I have a tri-stat glyph on my big pieces, so head, chest, and legs. I've got spell damage on all my jewelry as well. Now with regards to my consumables, well, we've seen it, which modders port and brew. Then I use tri-stats pots. These are the main ones that I use. And then when I go against sneaky stun blades or Magicka Night blades in general, I just use this essence of immovability that also increases stealth detection by 20 meters for 12 seconds, and then also an essence of invisibility when it gets tough. So usual potions as in my previous builds as well. With regards to skills, front bar, we start with the flex spots. Now I've been playing around with, hold on a second, I've been playing around with empowering chains because they're a gap closer. Mobility is always an issue with Magicka DKs, and I hate it to not be able to kind of chase after enemies that are almost dying. Maybe my ultimate is not up, so I can't leap them. Empowering chains drags me to them, but what I like the most about it is the fact that it gives me speed. Speed is so important nowadays. Very difficult to acquire on a Magicka DK, and so yeah, I find this skill particularly helpful as it gives me major expedition for 4 seconds. Shattering rocks, I really like this morph rather than the other one, because this one, just like the other one, goes through block. It cannot be blocked, it cannot be dodged. So this is amazing. It's got a bit of range as well, so 8 meters range. and the enemy will heal me when it attacks me in the next 4 seconds. It will heal me by over 7k when it's buffed. Cauterize, really good. Heal over time, and also grants me Major Prophecy, increasing my spell critical rating. So another great skill. If you want to be a bit more offensive, you could pick the other morph. Then obviously Flame Lash for this is your spammable, and then Burning Embers. This is absolutely important that you keep it on at all times, because of its heal. Now, Burning Embers and Cauterize will be your main source of healing. Now, we are using Coagulating Blood, but really Coagulating Blood is expensive, and really should be used only when in a panic, when we're having when we're getting bursted down. You want to pop that one, but otherwise you just want to manage your healing through Burning Embers and Cauterize. And then last but not least, Ferocious Leap. You're not a Dragon Knight if you're not using this ultimate. Great for sustain as well, as it gives you back stats. If you don't want to use Empowering Chains, I would strongly recommend, where is it? Choking Talons. Okay, this is great for reducing the enemy's damage, okay, by 15% for 7 seconds, as it applies minor maim. This build is really great for small group play, as it's got a bit of utility as well. Then my back bar, even though we're vampires, we don't use Mistform anymore. I'd rather use Reflective Plate. Again, when you are coming against ranged enemies and you don't have a gap closer, what you want to do is to force them to come within range, and there's nothing better for it than Reflective Plate, as it reflects up to 4 projectiles for 6 seconds, and it also cleanses you from any immobilization and snares, and grants you immunity for 2 seconds. So this is amazing for mobility. Then we've got Coagulating Blood, Volatile Armor, particularly for Major Resolve and Major Ward, but because it also does some AoE dot damage, this one's very good to pull enemies out of cloak. And Elemental Drain. Elemental Drain is the other source of hidden Magicka sustain. This one basically grants you 300 Magicka every 1 second, which translates into 600 Magicka recovery. And this one is a you apply this Magicka Steel when you do damage. So what you can do, you remember what I said earlier about Desert Rose. Desert Rose returns Magicka back to you when you're taking damage. This one is when you do damage. So you want to apply it, and then just simply apply a dot, and the dot will do the damage for you and will give you back Magicka, 300 Magicka every single second, which is incredible. And then I use Molten Weapons. I know it costs a lot more than Degeneration or the other morph of the Mage's Guild skill line, but it lasts 36 seconds. It lasts more, but it's up to you. You can use the other one. And then for my ultimate on my back bar, this is again another flexi spot. You can use Bat. You can use the Sigic line ultimate. You can use whatever you want. I like shifting standards because Cyrodiil is just full of brainless heal bots. Okay, people that just sit there and keep on healing themselves until their Zerg comes to their aid. You pop down one of these, and there you have it. Major D5 for 27 seconds, reducing their healing received and health recovery. You just you just drop this one You keep them in place with either shattering rocks or with choking talons, and your friends, people in your group, they can activate the synergy and shackle them in there, not only suffering damage but keeping them stuck in this circle of major defile for 27 seconds. I guarantee you they're gonna die. And basically, once you drop this, you can just move it around. You can just reapply it. Are they running? You just follow them with this. Are they stuck in a big group? You just drop it on them. And I tell you, it's just amazing. Amazing, amazing little skill to get rid of all sorts of heal bots. So yeah, this is I think this is it with regards of my skills. Let me just very quickly show you my champion points. 14 to Warlord, 19 into Bashing, Focus, 1 point into Siphoner to just add that extra dot that they have to cleanse. 19 into Mooncalf, 75 Arcanist, 43 into Tenacity, 9 into Befoul. You can put even more points there to up your shifting standard, okay, and increasing the major defile. 13 into Tumbling, 51 into Shadow Ward, 37 into Blessed, 40 into Elfborn, 56 into Elemental Defender, and 60 into Spell Erosion. 51 into Master at Arms, 26 into Thaumaturge. I prefer to put more points into Master at Arms because, again, Cyrodiil, you need to burst people down to kill them, so I thought I would give more, give more damage to my direct damage attacks rather than my dots, since I don't run that many dots anyway. 37 into Ironclad, 16 into Spell Shield, 55 into Resistant, 49 into Hardy and Elemental Defender, 37 into Thick Skinned, and 27 into Armor Focus. So there you go, my Magicka DRACONIC for Cyrodiil. Works great into small groups, particularly, and yeah, let me know what you think about it. Try it out and tell me how you go. Until then, have a great time, have a great Christmas, and a blessed 2019. Bye.